What's up everybody, I am Monk here, and today is an exciting day because My Hero Academia 193 came out, so let's take a look at it. So right away, it starts off with Deku is unable to move or speak in this dream-like sequence that's going on. All he sees is the previous one for all users, and they're pretty cool looking, and I gotta be honest with you guys, because I would love to see some type of filler or some type of side anime where they go over these guys' backstory, because they all look so interesting. You see them all, and then Deku's oh, they're including myself in this. But then it goes off and cuts to where One for All and All for One are talking, and then All for One is pretty much just talking about society and how these people have superpowers and how he wants to bring them into a new age. And then One for All, his younger brother, says you're doing it wrong, because if you do that, then you're not you're causing war between people who have these superpowers and people who don't. And All for One says no, that's not the case, because since I'm the leader and I control who gets powers, then I have all the control in the world. During all of this, you got Deku who's trying to say something to, One for All and say something to All for One, because he recognizes that's All for One, but he's unable to because, this is a dream-like sequence. He has no control over his body parts except for his right arm, which is interesting to note. But then it cuts off in the chapter to these two guys. You have a family man and this bald guy. The family man loves his mom and dad, and he has these fangs that are growing, All for One says. And then you have a bald guy who got attacked and mugged by these group of people who had superpowers, and then he was unable to do anything even with a taser gun, because the guy holding him down with tentacles got him in a pin, and he was just unable to do anything. So then All for One says, "Are you ready?" And they're sure. And then he takes the guy's powers, the family man, and transfers them over to the bald guy, and now the bald guy has spikes. Now once this is completed, One for All lunges at All for One, and then the All for One's bodyguard comes in and just slams and pins One for All to the ground. And then All for One says that he's trying to bring peace and order to a society that's lost itself into the abyss of superpowers and non-people who have superpowers. But the interesting thing is that after this, you see the whole town go into pure chaos, and then it shows that All for One is going around gaining new followers by doing them a favor, and then in return he gains their trust, and they're so grateful to him that they feel they owe him this massive debt. Now One for All shouts at All for One saying, "How can you bring order if this is the way you're going about it?" Which All for One says that he is doing the right thing, and then in his mind, this is the right thing. This is the right course of action to bring the peace in this society that's lost its way, because it doesn't know how to deal with people that have superpowers and people that don't. But then the panels continue with destruction of, I said, the town, and everything's in chaos. And All for One, you see him taking quirks, holding them, giving them to people, gaining new followers. And then it's interesting because he takes One for All captive and puts him in a prison room, and then he enters the room, and then One for All is "Oh, you come to visit me?" And All for One's "Yeah, because you're my younger brother and you're my only family and I still love you." And then Deku is still seeing all this go down, and then All for One says to One for All that there was a group of people that tried and didn't agree with him, and they tried to revolt, and he just killed them right there. Now this got me thinking, because if All for One is so talking about righteousness and doing the right thing, he seems more like a villain than anything, and One for All seems like the hero. And that is funny because it continues with One for All bringing up a comic that they used to read when they were younger, and All for One says, "Yeah, I only got to volume 3, and in it the Demon King was winning and the hero was losing." And then One for All says, "That sucks for you, because in that comic it goes to show that the hero will eventually win." And then All for One says, "Well, that's funny, because this is reality." And he grabs his head and gives him a quirk. Now this is, of course, everybody knows that this is when One for All truly became One for All, with having a quirk to pass down and also now to stockpile power. So All For One says join me, and then One For All is shouting stop it. And during all of this, Deku tries to reach out to help One For All because he feels like obligated to, because that's who he is. But then it turns out in the following panels, like Deku is having flashbacks of like All Might when he said like, I never had these type of dreams, and you know, they could like communicate to you, but I'm not too sure about it. And Deku's wondering if like, did All Might ever really have these experiences, or am I the first one to really do so? And which is interesting because Deku could be the first one in this line of people who achieved and got granted One For All to really have these like dream-like sequences. Then the chapter continues with what you see One For All, and he's talking to Deku and saying that, you know, this is only a portion of the bigger picture and that you can only handle 20% of this. And then One For All says, do not worry, you are not alone, which is interesting because that foreshadows that One For All will be seen again in these dreamlike sequences with Deku when the time is right, when he's able to handle it. And then the dreamlike sequences end, and then you see Deku's classmate Aoma, and my man just comes in and busts down that door open to Deku's room to see what's up, because you know Deku's making all these noises and he's worried. But then what's funny is that you see Deku's room and it's in total shambles. You got the whole left side, like posters are ripped, the chair's on the ground, Deku's like kneeling on the bed, and like Aoma's just like, what the hell is going on here? And then the interesting thing is that it leaves us with Deku's arm, his right arm, which you saw One For All grab, and now his arm has markings. Now this is where I wanted to talk about with the markings, because I don't know if this is like symbolizing like Deku has a new power, or that this is like a tattoo type of deal where it shows that, you know, he's got 20% of the dream completed, which could be the case. But I like to focus on like if this is like a power up for Deku, because in another anime and manga called Boruto, as you may know, Boruto has a marking now, and that kind of gives him this like weird like godlike power. So this can mean that Deku has achieved like a new power state, or like this could help him in his like full cowl. Who knows? Because right now all of this is just like, of course, speculation, but it'd be cool to think about that this is like a new type of power that Deku could access, or what will the next dreams be and what will they show, because the story is just getting really more interesting now. We know that all the previous One For All users try to fight All For One, but why couldn't they defeat him? Like, what was the reason behind it? Like, were they weak, or they still need to stockpile each other's energy? And if Deku's the only one now having these dreams and getting these markings, what does that truly symbolize for the users of One For All? Alright guys, wrapping up the video, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, what you think the markings symbolize. Do you think it's just for power? Do you think it's just for looks? If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and if you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button. As always, Iron Monk signing out.